And I remember Steph Curry was alive.
Was alive.
And Steph Curry
No,
actually
on
played
him.
back.
Where is
Oh,
he
he's
at? We don't even know where you're at. We're getting confused. We thought the
To
Sixers,
you
but
is there any situation where you see someone playing basketball and they have no rings, and you're saying that person is the greatest basketball player ever? Because
it's not fun to go to prison, but I'm going for the right reason. So it's like,
that's true.
if I ever get out, I'm gonna come out even stronger than ever. Like, you know.
You are now watching the Westmoreland Bros podcast.
All right, my boy, do you still like waking up early?
Yeah, you know, I actually don't mind it.
You do? Okay. Would you say the early bird gets the worm?
Yeah. I've seen
Okay.
it myself. I've seen a bird come down from the heavens and pick up a worm, and then I chased after the bird, so it dropped the worm. So I actually saw like,
You chased
got
after the
worm.
bird.
Yeah, like I saw it come down, and you know, they put their beaks or whatever in the ground to get the worm. So when it did that, it had came up, and I had just before it flew off, I ran so like I could see what it had, and it literally dropped the worm. Like, wow.
So the early bird does get the worm.
It's a fact.
So if the early bird gets the worm, why do good things come to those who wait?
Well, that doesn't. Oh. It's so random, bro. First of all,
It's your opinion. It doesn't. Whatever you're feeling, just like the space thing. If the early bird gets the worm, why do good things come to those who wait? Is it the early bird or is it you waiting?
it's both. It's literally the same
It's
thing,
both.
right? Because
It's the same thing.
the early bird gets the worm, but it had to wait all night. It had to be patient. It had to do whatever they do. I don't know if they sleep at night. Maybe they do. So it was asleep all night.
Mhm.
Might have been a little hungry, so he might have wanted to go out in the middle of the night. But come on, man. Good things come to those who wait. So he waited until the early morning.
But when you go to bed, is that really waiting though? You're just going to sleep. Like if you go to sleep right now, did you really wait for breakfast? No, you're just sleeping. It's a normal routine.
I mean, but sleep is dependent on the person. Some people only sleep for 2 hours apparently. I mean, you look at some people like Kobe. When he was alive, he literally said, I'm getting in 2 or 3 hoop sessions before somebody even wakes up. He wakes up at 4 a.m. to go get his first session on, and then he goes home for an hour and comes back at 6 or 7 and then
So
goes
is that him
home.
really waiting then?
Is that him waiting?
Right, that's him. That sounds like him being the early bird that got the worm. It doesn't sound like good things come to those who wait in his situation. He didn't wait.
Well, I think we were talking about this. You're kind of confusing me here. I'm not gonna lie. It's kind of going all over. But
Interesting. We're only been talking for 2 minutes.
that's you got me messed up already. You see what I'm saying?
Interesting.
With
Okay.
all this wording and stuff. But I will say, yeah, I mean, good things come to those who wait. A baby bird, you know, he can't go out and get the early worm. He has to wait. That's why Mama and Papa go get the early worm, so then they can take it back to little Jimmy who been waiting. You know what I mean? Good things come to those who wait. Now, the waiting part I think switches in everybody's life. Different parts of their life, different times, things change. You understand what I'm saying? Because I wake up early now and I go to work, have a good shift, cool. But that's earlier than when I went to school. So I was like, if we compare me at a school age to a grown-up age, completely different. You know what I mean? Because then I can say now, like, well, waking up for school wasn't that early, so am I gonna say good things come to those who wait, and then a little kid gotta go to school? No, he hates school. You know what I mean? He didn't want to wait for that, but he had.
So
to,
all
you
kids
know?
hate school.
Some of them.
When you're building something, what would you call that?
I would call that me building something. I don't know if it's carpentry or
No,
Legos. Or it's just me. It's building. I'm building.
You're building, exactly. You're building. So why do they call it a building if it's built?
They call it a building because we built it. We can't say, yeah, we finna go to the built. That's not really proper English. So we gotta say.
But building it. But you're saying you're going to the building, but it's already built. So why is
Right.
it a building?
Well, I guess once again that would depend on the building because some are are constantly under some type of construction. I mean, sometimes they redo a bathroom, they're still building. Sometimes they
Oh, okay.
they have to fix the roof, so they're building.
So
Sometimes
getting
maybe.
maintenance done makes a building. But if it's not getting maintenance, then it's a build.
Well, maybe it's called a building because they understand that concept. They understand the concept of a good building. Because if you just built something, you let it be without building on it. Maybe so every so often we'll say, then the building would fall. It would become corrupt. It would erode. Things happen. The weather changes everything. You know, it doesn't matter what it's built from. Weather in general, storms, tornadoes, hurricanes. You see what I'm saying? So maybe they thought 2 steps ahead, and they're like, we're gonna call it a building because we can build on this at any time we want, anytime we need.
Okay, that's not a bad. I don't mind that idea. So it's a building because it can be constantly being built,
Yeah.
even though it's already built. Would you
You
consider
said it.
your house a building?
I'll consider it a house.
Not a building.
It's a buildings are just house is a type of building because it was built.
House a type. So you're technically a house is a building. Would you consider your house under construction to where it's still a building, or is it a built?
Before I moved in, it was being rebuilt a little bit on the inside. It needed improvements. I'm sure after I leave, it's gonna need more improvements due to some things we noticed in the house. You see what I'm saying? So, correct, it is a building because it's always built upon. This was probably built over 40 years ago, so the roof's gonna need to be done. Maybe the attic needs some work. Maybe there's a leak up there. You see what I'm saying? So it's a building.
Do you believe in fake news?
I see where this is going, podcast, and I'm ready. I do believe.
Do you believe in fake news? I'm just asking a question.
News is real, yes.
That's real. News channels can lie and push maybe a story or a narrative.
Yeah, I do all every
So
day.
if the news is fake, how fake is history?
Very fake. People.
If they can lie to your face and we have videos in 4K,
Mhm.
and then we talking 10, 100,000 years ago.
Yeah, no. So, like I was saying, 100%. Like, back to the original question. What was the original question again? You keep going. You keep getting me there.
With the news?
Yeah,
the
you
news?
said. What,
Well, I
what
was
was
saying if
trying to-
news can be fake nowadays, what would history be
history.
like? Yeah, history. It
Bro,
correlates to
what?
history.
Come on, the history. People love to rewrite history, and not in the way of like the NBA, for example, any sports, for example, right? I'm gonna take the NBA.
Oh
though,
my
'cause
gosh!
this is
Oh,
simple.
I got something
Look.
to say about that. Keep going though.
Look, Michael.
Oh,
No.
maybe you're gonna say it,
The points. Who had the most points ever? Kareem.
Kareem.
So Kareem had the most points ever, right?
Right.
But LeBron rewrote history because now he has the most points, and who knows if anybody will catch him. So when I say rewrite history, I don't mean like that, where one fact can change because another person made a new fact that changed it. You see what I'm saying? It was a fact
Right.
that what was his name again? Kareem. Right?
Kareem. Yeah, Kareem.
Hey, you see I love basketball. It was a fact that Kareem had the most points ever in the NBA. Up until, I believe, what was it, a year or two ago?
Right.
So up until a year or two ago. So that was a fact, but then a year or two ago, LeBron changed that fact. So now the new
Right.
fact is LeBron has the most points.
Right.
However, sometimes people, Christopher Columbus, discovered America or whatever we want to say. That is not a fact. You see what I'm saying? There were people who are already settled here before he was here. He just came, said, hey, I'm going to take over, and now it is what it is. But people always want to say in the history books that who discovered America? Christopher Columbus. Well, everybody knows that's not true. If we want to be technical, he came over here. Instead of just settling with all the other people and residents who were here, he took over. So yes, history has lied to us multiple times. Even when you look at I'm not political, and I'm neutral and a lot of aspects with that, and every aspect as far as politics goes. I'm neutral.
Politics.
But as far as wars go, bro, you've had people. I was at Panera Bread sometime last year, I got a meal. There was an old white guy in there. I was like, hey, let me say hi. He got to talking. We talked for like 5-10 minutes. He was in some war back then when they had it. And he was
Yeah.
like everything they told us, the reason we were going to war was an absolute lie. So it's
Yeah.
like we get lied to all the time. Whether it's just a
Right.
normal person like you and I, or whether it's high ranking officials or leaders, whatever. People lie so it suits them. So 100% it's
Right.
fake news, and there's 100% a lot of fake history.
That's true. I mean, well, with the politics things, it makes you think of the example I heard. It's like, if people would cheat in a basketball game for a few dollars, why would people not cheat to rule the world? So you're not a big Christopher Columbus guy. What about rediscovery? Do you think he rediscovered it? Like, maybe, like, let's say a building gets abandoned. It's like, oh, I discovered this abandoned building. Yeah, technically somebody built the building. Technically people were in the building at one point. But then this individual has rediscovered this long lost thing. Do you think he rediscovered America? Or you're like, no, it's not even rediscovery because people were chilling there. Were they everywhere? Were Native Americans really everywhere in America? What do you think?
Wasn't there, but
That's a good answer.
I do
I didn't
know
know that.
that there were people here before him, and that's just as
Allegedly.
That's just as simple as it goes. Well, no, he saw people, so there's nothing alleged about it. There's people here. You see what I'm saying? And you said Native Americans. If it was, I don't care what you were. There's people here. You see what I'm saying? Clear as day. So no,
Americans.
You can't. No, I don't think it was. See, that's the thing. It wasn't called America at the time. So he came
Okay.
over and called it America. I guess. I don't know.
Landians.
Yeah, whatever. But anywho, no, you can't rediscover something if they're already there. You can say, "Oh, I personally, I just discovered this land." That's what you can say, but you can't say I rediscovered it when it's people who are breathing right here. If everybody was dead and he pulled up
You're
and
right.
nobody's there, you just see a whole bunch of skeletons like a movie or something. Whoa. I rediscovered this land that these people died on. Like, this is crazy.
Right.
But no, you can't rediscover something when something is still existent there. That doesn't make sense.
Okay, that makes sense. There was this article. I don't know if you've seen it. It is probably one of the biggest things I'll use in like a Jordan LeBron like GOAT debate or whatever. And it was like a GQ magazine, and they had Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball of all time greatest basketball player of all time, on the cover. That's like what the cover says, something like that. And at the time the article was posted, he had 0 rings. So my question to you is there any situation where you see someone playing basketball and they have no rings, and you're saying that person is the greatest basketball player ever? Because MJ fans love to say, "Oh, he was 6-0," but they were declaring him the GOAT before he even won a ring in the first place. So it's like, when you already have something predetermined in your head like that, it's kind of like, why do we even debate you? You're kind of delusional, Like, we've seen people have great seasons. James Harden, there's that one soundtrack going around. He was averaging 40 or 50, something like that. Stephen A. So it's like, people have great seasons, great moments. SGA, well, he just won a ring, but still, like, is there any situation where you've seen a player and you're like, this is the greatest person ever, and they just didn't win a ring?
Well, okay. To answer that one, no. To answer your first question, can somebody be the greatest and not have a ring? I feel like if I was to say somebody was the greatest of all time with no ring in the NBA, like, you would probably have to lead in all stats pretty much. Like, you gotta be the top scorer in points, top rebounds, top assists. Like, you kind of gotta be like, and I'm not saying like top 5. You gotta be like top 1. You know what I mean? You gotta be like 1.
Yeah. Undeniably.
Maybe 2 in a category, and it's maybe for whatever reason. You know what I mean? But that's like the only way I'd say that. And because at the end of the day, if you are the best, you would usually have one type of ring, championship,
Right.
Whatever, in whatever sport you play, even outside of basketball, you would probably have one of that. Like, at some point, your team was good enough for that, or at least if you're the best, then you made your team good enough for that. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's my answer.
It's crazy because based on your answer, John Stockton should technically be up there in the GOAT debate because he's number 1 for assists and steals by a mile. Like, no one's
Right.
even close to him. Granted, there have been some stories circulating, and I have not watched it myself in terms of like rewatching film. I don't have time for that as of right now. Maybe one day in the future I will have time for that. But they were saying that they would pad their stats pretty much, and not the players, but the people actually keeping score.
Yeah.
Like, there were like one game they said Michael Jordan had like 9 steals, that someone rewatched it and he only had like 4. That's an insane amount of like boosting. Like, that's not, you're not even trying to like not lie. You're deliberately lying. So it's like they did that for Jordan, Stockton, and like a few other players. So it's like, you know?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I remember when that came out with Jordan. It's still, I mean, the videos are out there, but I never watched them either. That's for people who get paid to watch stuff like that, or just literally probably live at home at their mom's house and they're a huge basketball fan at 40 or 30 years old. So that's for those people. As far as normal people, we ain't got time for all that. I'm not gonna cap. We don't got time for all that. Now,
Yeah, that's a
if
lot.
somebody says, yeah, this clip right here that I just posted on my Instagram is the exact clip where you see Jordan not, then bet anybody can watch that. But nobody's
Right.
watching the whole game. But yeah, I already know like the stats back then is so different than now. Everything you do is recorded. Whether you playing elementary, middle school, high school game, bro, it's recorded. They looking at elementary school trying to see who's finna be a great talent when they in high school. So then by the time they in high school, they already know that they gonna sign them after they go to this college. Like, it's just completely different, bro. Everything is actual video. It's 4K as the saying goes. It's literally 4K.
Literally
Back
4K.
then, even if you watch the footage, you probably straining and get a headache after 5 minutes because it's so blurry. So it's like somebody's leg could have been the ball, or the ball could have, like, you know, it's just weird, bro. It's too hard to watch. It's not fun, bro. They don't even have lines on the court sometimes. There wasn't a 3-point line at one point. There was just the free throw line. You know what I mean? Like, that's boring to watch in black and white. Who's doing that with all these old heads just tall as a tower, and they just over here laying?
It's basketball. You gotta love the game. It's basketball. You gotta love the
You
game.
don't have to love the game. I don't love the game. Everybody knows this. Basketball isn't life to me. You know what I mean? I just told somebody that the other day. Somebody said I hooped, and I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, I don't hoop, bro. I hoop once a year. I'm like, I'll probably do decent because it's just, I guess, not a hard sport to me. I'm not saying I'm gonna go get 20 points, but
Right.
I'll do decent. You know, I'm not gonna turn it over like that. I'll pass you the ball, and I'm gonna shoot my threes. Like, that's, you know.
We got
But
some of
yeah,
your highlights
YouTube,
from this
man.
from about a year ago now, I think. Yeah, about a year ago.
You know, it's the last time I hooped, probably.
Speaking of the past and Michael Jordan, Paul George recently said something to the effect, and Marcus got on my case. He said, you guys need to have the facts together. Marcus, when you're having a conversation, it's not the easiest to remember every single fact instantly on the spot. I don't have somebody behind me telling me. Forgive me, Marcus. But he said to some extent that this is the greatest season by a guard since Michael Jordan, something like that. And I remember Steph Curry was alive.
Was a lie.
And Steph Curry actually played basketball from in between SGA and Michael Jordan. So I wasn't sure how you felt about that. Were you on the same page where it's like SGA had a better season than any season Steph Curry has played? Or is this prisoner of the moment type situation? Like, how do you feel about Paul George? And Paul George saying that, you know, and Paul George, what? Another thing is, I don't know why he's even speaking on it, because he's contributed to OKC even getting a chip in the first place, because they traded for him. They traded him for SGA and 5 first-round picks. But that's a different story. But yeah, how do you feel about that? Because Steph Curry did exist, if the math is correct, in between that time frame.
The last point was the point. That's the point. Paul George was an OKC player. You know what I mean?
Right.
They gave up him to get SGA along with a lot. The thing is, that's why he's saying this. You see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
he's gonna say his replacement. Oh my gosh, this is the. He's pretty much saying he's the GOAT of this year.
Right.
I mean, he's pretty much saying he's the GOAT for the next 10 years. That's what I'm hearing. And it's like, when you get replaced, I mean, you can either hate or love, and he's doing a lot of love right now. You know what I mean? Which is great.
Yeah.
We don't need hate. But
That's true.
I'll just say this, and I'll leave it at that, bro. Because I clicked the comments, and all my people was there. They said 2016 Curry. I saw pictures of Curry. So the only thing I'll say, if a guard's gonna have the best season since Michael Jordan, He won SGA won MVP, right? Right.
Yeah.
How many votes did he have?
I don't know, but he wasn't unanimous. But he wasn't unanimous.
So he
Because
had,
if he was, we would have heard about it. We ain't hear about it. He wasn't unanimous.
So let me ask you
Jokic was
how.
dropping 60-point triple doubles. You can't be unanimous and playing against a guy like that. I'm sorry.
So let me ask you. He can't be unanimous against Jokic. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
But Steph Curry could be unanimous even when LeBron was hooping crazy. So we have to understand if we're gonna say
There's
some,
levels.
we have to understand we're gonna say this is the best guard since MJ. We have to reflect on the recent years, and I understand Paul George doesn't want to do that because Curry was taking, he's probably thinking, oh, Curry was taking rings away from me. He wasn't gonna get him anyway. You know what I mean? Paul George was not gonna get him. But maybe that's his thinking. But yeah, if we're saying a guard is better than Jordan, and there's only been one guard in the history, even before Jordan and after, to ever win a unanimous MVP, and his name is Steph Curry. I don't think you have to go farther than that. I don't think you have to go farther when the man has the most threes ever made in a season, multiple times, also made in a career. What do we have to say? Has the best free throw percentage ever seen in the league, which includes Michael Jordan, Paul George, which is the goal.
Is that real? I didn't know that. Steph has the best free throw percentage of all time.
Yes. He wins numerous years for best free throw percentage, and then one year he doesn't win every year, but one year when he did lose, guess who got it? Jordan Poole when he was on the Warriors. That's the dedication. That's the dedication people put in when they play with Steph. You understand what I'm saying? Let me ask you this. Does that sound more like the best guard since MJ? I think so. With 4 rings.
I think outside of the ring debate,
That's
think what makes
where I
him.
left it. That's it. We don't even have a debate ring.
I think the thing that makes Steph just better in general is that he literally changed the game. And in my opinion, MJ was the face of the league, obviously when he was in it, of course. But I wouldn't say MJ changed the league per se. Maybe because before MJ, the big man was kind of what was needed to like win championships. And he was kind of like, he was one of the first to like be not a big man to win a ring. And so in terms of that sense, maybe he helped change the game. But Steph literally has kids going to the gym and they don't even go inside the 3-point line. I went to LA Fitness today, bro. Straight bums, of course. Bro, there was way more 3 shot than 2s. I was the main one shooting layups, bro. Outside of that, bro, everyone was chucking 3s. And that's not because of SGA. And granted, I will say SGA does do a lot of mid-range, which is great. I think it's great to have balance in the game, working in, out, all that stuff. But in terms of changing the game, like the influence Steph Curry has, bro, he's one of the most influential of all time. Maybe the most influential, like, because he's literally changed the way people play basketball. Like, literally. People who get drafted because they can make a 3-point shot and nothing else. And granted, there's always been some. In basketball, you always would want to pick somebody for certain things. Like Alex Caruso, he's picked up because he's a defensive stopper. Yeah, he can hit a 3, but you're not picking him up because he only shoots 3s. You're picking him up because he plays great defense, right? So it's like there's always little things you look for in a player, but it's like Steph really changed that shooting aspect like tremendously. I can't emphasize that enough.
Bro, anytime somebody says, yeah, he changed the game, nobody thinks of anybody but Steph Curry, bro. And it's different when you say, like, you brung up the GOAT debate a couple times. With the GOAT debate, from whatever generation you're from, you're gonna say somebody else. You know what I mean? It's just that simple, really. But like you said, when it comes to influence and impact, bro, it's only been Steph Curry, bro. And that's no shot at nobody. He didn't try to do that. He just hooped his game, bro. He played his way, and it was that simple, bro. And this is the same guy who literally was scouted by everybody, and they crapped on him. Like, he's too skinny, he's too flimsy, his ankles suck, he doesn't have an overall game, da-da-da. Bro, and he has one of the best careers that you could dream of as far as the NBA. Some people just want 1 ring, and he's been fortunate to get 4, you know what I mean? And still playing great at 30, I think he's 7 now, you know what I mean? So, nah, Paul George is wrong about that, which is, I mean, it's There's something else to be disappointed about with the guy. You know, you don't hoop when you just should have retired after the Pacers, and it sucks. But
Yeah. Well,
I'll say it. I'll say it.
I wouldn't say all
Say
that.
it. I will.
I wouldn't
What
say
have-
all that.
What have you done? You took
I
money, you
wouldn't say
sat
all
on the
that.
bench, you
He
switched
did.
teams, you
Yeah.
flip flop all the time. The Clippers don't want you. They wait. Is he on the Clippers? Yeah, he's on the Clippers. They
No,
don't
he's not.
want him. Where is
No,
he
he's
at? We don't even know where you're at. We're getting confused. We thought the Sixers, but you played for them.
Yeah, he's on the
Why?
Sixers. He's on the Sixers.
He's on the Sixers now. Like,
Yeah.
bro, you
I had
enjoy.
to think. I had to lock it. I'm like, where is he at?
That's right, because him and Joel Embiid never played. Like,
Right, they don't play. They
It's-
just leave
it's
Maxey
bad.
to do it by himself.
it's bad when it's bad when the logo is saying you get hurt too much. Like, you gotta do better. What are you doing? This is the logo talking. And then you're
Yeah.
gonna say this is the best guard since Michael Jordan. This, bro, go talk to the logo. He don't agree with that. Like, SGA is good. This is no slight at SGA. This is a slight
Is Jerry West
at
still
Paul-
alive?
And Paul George, did he die now? I know people be dying. I kind of be forgetting. He
I
might have
feel like he
died.
might have died. Oh, I feel bad now.
Oh,
Rest
we
in peace,
can't
Jerry
ask.
West. Okay, fair enough. He died in 2024.
Great. It was well, not great. I'm sorry, but it was recent, so it's not like I forgot about it 10 years ago. So yeah, shout out Jerry West. Shout out his family. Apologize.
Another
about
great
him.
guard.
Yeah, apologize about him passing, but yeah, that's just dumb, bro. I didn't even. You sent it to me, bro, and I was. That's just his podcast, though. He has to do that. He has to get more views. Imagine how many more. And he already has a podcast that's set. Great, I get that.
Right,
but
right.
imagine how many more views he got because of that. You know what I mean?
That's a good point. I didn't watch it. I wasn't doing the clickbait. But that's true. That's a good point. He probably did
That's
get more
literally
views.
it. And even if you didn't watch the full podcast, you might have saw it linked on his page. Like, he put a reel out. It just, you get views from wherever. You know what I mean? Or people just go on his page now and commenting. Like, it's just. But nah, he was tripping. SGA is good, but he is not. He's not the best guard in the league right now.
Agreed. And wait, SGA's not.
No, he's not the best guard since Michael Jordan. He's not the best guard in the league right now.
I don't think he's the best guard since Michael Jordan. The best guard in the league is debatable.
We can
It's
debate
debatable.
it, but that's my opinion.
It's debatable. It's crazy because if Steph wouldn't have got hurt, there's a really good chance he would have been in the finals. So, and then we wouldn't even be talking about SGA. But thankfully, the Warriors did lose. Shout out to them not being able to win a single game without Curry. And yeah, Paul George's take was a little crazy. And I disagree with one of your takes too. You said he's the only influential. I don't agree with that. There's definitely other influential players all time. I'm not talking about LeBron.
I said
Like, just
only. I didn't mean only. I just meant he's the most influential. Like,
oh, okay, yeah,
yeah.
that's debatable, and I think he would have a very strong argument for sure. Anyway, World War III memes have been trending lately. Last time there was a World War III, I want to say memes. It was probably 3 or 4 years ago. No, I think it was 2020, so 5 years ago. I remember because that year everything went wrong. I can't remember if Kobe died. I want to say Kobe died that year because it was like I think it was right after or right before the pandemic, somewhere around there. Kobe died that year. I remember Australia was on fire, and then I remember World War III was trending. It was like right away in January, and I was freaking out because I was within the age range to be drafted, and I have zero interest in being drafted. And obviously, I wouldn't do it, which means I'd be in jail. But I don't have any interest in being in jail either. Okay,
Right.
5 years ago, I was 23. So, my question to you is that something you worry about at all? Because you're within that range. You're not worried about being drafted at all.
I'm not just. I could care less. They could draft me. That's fine. But I don't go to jail. It is what it is. I'm not. And I'm not advocating prisoner jail, but I am when it comes to what you believe in and what you stand for. And I don't believe in going to war and killing random people I never met. Like, the one thing is so interesting. But it always stood out to me. It was a point made like when I was younger, and it's like people go to war, and this nation is praying to God. Got their priest out there. Oh, God, help them and protect them and save them. The other side doing the same thing, though. So it's like, what? Y'all don't see a conflict right there? Like, y'all both praying to God. Hey, help us go out here and defeat the enemy and get our wins. It's like, that in itself, you should just take a second and be like, well, what God is gonna hear this prayer from both sides and make sure everybody gets home safe? What? Like, what are we talking about? Like,
Right.
so I don't get involved in war. I'm neutral on that. I'll go to jail or prison. I'll be fine because I did it for what I believed and what I knew to be right. I put that on my story the other day on my close friends. I'm like, they could call me up all they want and then they can arrest me. I just do whatever time I gotta do.
If you go to jail, how often are you expecting us to visit you? Like every day? Or
Well,
once a
it
week?
wouldn't. It definitely wouldn't be jail. That'd be prison. The prison
Prison,
is
right?
the big boy house because that's probably you saying no to the government. So I'm assuming that might just be a federal crime.
Right.
We'll look it up. But what am I? What? I'll expect you to visit me.
Are you?
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, if y'all want, like, I'm not. It'll help.
And like once a week, once a month.
I don't know. I ain't never been in prison locked up for.
How many push-ups you doing a day in prison?
How many push-ups am I doing today?
Over or under 500?
Maybe over.
Yeah.
Maybe not right away because my arm got to get used to all that hundreds. But yeah, definitely at some point. I'm probably just gonna you're just gonna be working. I'm gonna sell jets. I'm gonna be in my cell board. So I'm gonna
Oh.
I'm gonna read the Bible, and then I'm gonna work out, and then
Repeat.
yeah. And if I
But
got
literally repeat. You're gonna have the entire Bible memorized, and you're gonna be in the most shape of your life. You're gonna be
That's why
looking like
it's
Fred when he got out.
that's why it's not fun to go to prison, but I'm going for the right reason. So it's like
That's true.
if I ever get out, I'm gonna come out even stronger than ever. That Fred memorized the daily text every day. Like he remembered the scripture, what the scripture was, and exactly what it said, and then all the notes underneath and those scriptures. Like that man was sharp. Like shouts out Fred. We
Yeah.
missed him, but
Rest
shout
in
out
peace.
Miss Janet. As far as it goes with you thinking the ages, you're safe or whatever. This guy just did an Instagram or TikTok the other day and broke down how even your age bracket up to I believe 39 or something is
Huh?
yeah,
Stop
it's not actually safe. It's only a certain few people that are safe, and I don't even want to say we don't even gotta see who's safe, but I just want to let you know that if it really come down to it, I think you're not safe, depending on how
Says-
many.
This is what
People
Google
ain't
says. I don't really trust Google as much as ChatGPT, but it says all men in the U.S. between the ages of 18 and 25 are required to register. If a draft were to be started, men who turn 20 that year would be called up first. After that, men aged 21 to 25, and then followed 19 to 18 if troops were needed. A lot of people do volunteer, but I don't see how I would.
But even
There's
at
no-
me, I mean, I'm cut off that. I'm about to be cut off that list. I mean, I'm not too concerned about that. They got to go to all those age brackets before me. I'm literally dead last. I'm the senior of this age bracket, and I'll be 26 by November. So that's like, I'm not. I don't know. I mean, I know
You're
it's
almost
active-
out of it. Dang, that's so crazy.
He's mad. I know it's actively going. I know certain things are actively going on. in the
God
world.
dang.
World now where people think a World War III could happen or whatever, but I'm just not worried, bro. And also, it's just prophecies, bro. I guess when you know the prophecies, you can't. What are you gonna be worried about? You just kind of, you gotta. To an extent, a part of you inside is like this has to happen. I'm not saying World War III, by the way. I'm just saying certain events have to happen. But the Bible's prophecies to be true, so I ain't got no concern. But maybe a little happy. The Bible prophecy is being fulfilled.
Brandy's a nurse. They said nurses can get called up from 19 to 40 something. I was like,
Well, yeah, because the battlefield, once again, it's a battlefield, so somebody gets shot in the leg or bombed, they take him to the tents, and Brandy, she gonna be there in prison, man.
no, she not. No, she not.
You letting your girl go to prison?
You trying to piss me off. Yes.
Hey,
Yes.
it was
Be all right.
funny because me and everybody didn't forget. You left a cliffhanger for us the other week when we said if your daughter was born, You know, and LeBron was like, spend all day with me. Which would you choose? So we need that answer right now, my boy, before you click off. So did you go hang out with Bron for the day or go see daughter number 1 born?
I would go see my daughter being born.
No lies on here though. You just gotta be honest.
I'll go see my daughter being born. Did you see Cash in them? Got to see LeBron. They were so happy. Oh my
man,
god,
Kai really put all his people on, bro.
bro. Hopefully that be us one day, man. That dude, he really put all of them on for real. Like he's just the gatekeeper to all that. Like it's crazy. They was crying. They got one of them, which
is a little OD. I'm not gonna lie, bro. That's when they was face down crying about meeting another grown man. And this isn't even a slight at LeBron, bro.
Right.
You know, great basketball player. People enjoy watching them and like him.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
You crying over it. That's where people really idolize people. And it's like, bro.
Yeah.
Don't idolize no man, bro. I'm telling y'all, bro. Stop idolizing them, bro. They just like you. They bleed like you. They die like you, bro. Don't idolize that man, bro.
So you wouldn't cry if you saw Curry?
I already saw him and I fist bumped him. I didn't cry, bro. I smiled and I was happy that he fist bumped me, bro.
Did you fist bump him? I don't remember that.
I got it on tape. I'll send it.
Is that real or is that like a rumor?
Put the clip in. Who?
Was it like a rumor? Was it like a dream? You dreamed you fist bumped him? You're dreaming of another man?
I have a tape.
Oh.
I have
AI?
a videotape. I don't know what AI. That wasn't even around back then when he was
back then. Oh my gosh, you're so old.
You know what I mean?
AI just came around.
And Jose recorded it. So you know what I mean? That's real legendary.
Oh, that's crazy.
Make sure to like, comment, share with everybody you know, and subscribe.